Lesson 8. Vocabulary Study. Questions and Answers.
Repeat, please.
Annual. Era. Program. Creative. Focus. Neglect.
Listen. How much vacation do you get every year?
I have 2 weeks annual vacation.
What is the period of history called when industrialization took place?
It's called the Industrial Revolution. That was the beginning of the industrial era.
Do you plan out what you're going to do every day?
Yes, I program every minute.
Is your son creative?
Yes, he's very inventive. I think he's going to be either a writer or an inventor. He certainly has a lot of original ideas.
Why is Susan crying? Did she get hurt?
No, she wants everyone to pay attention to her. She isn't happy unless she's the focus of attention.
Mr. Smith neglects his wife. I don't think he's taken her out for a year.
You don't say.
Now you answer the questions. 1. How much vacation do you get every year? 2. What is the period of history called when industrialization took place? 3. Do you plan out what you're going to do every day? 4. Is your son creative? 5. Why is Susan crying? Did she get hurt? Six. Mr. Smith neglects his wife. I don't think he's taken her out for a year.
Word definitions. Repeat, please.
1. Century. A period of 100 years. Great discoveries were made in the 18th century. Europeans discovered America almost 5 centuries ago.
2. Cut into. Break into, interrupt. Take a piece out of something. His long lunch hours cut into his work time. Bill works 4 hours after school. This cuts into his study time.
3. Effort. A try, an attempt, the use of strength or power to do something. You can't learn English without making some effort. I think we should make an effort to tell him.
4. Kitten. A baby cat. Have you ever seen little kittens play? Our cat had 4 kittens.
5. Laughter. The action or sound of laughing. The room was filled with laughter. The sound of children's laughter came through the door.
6. Practical. Concerned with practice as opposed to theory. Useful. Your invention is interesting, but not very practical. Not all research programs have practical uses.
7. Scale. Relative size, extent. He entertains on a grand scale. I'm looking for a large-scale map of western Florida.
8. Utilize. Use, make use of. The author utilized all his life experience in writing the book. We'll need to utilize all our men in order to build the bridge.
Sentence pairs. Repeat, please.
1. Available. We couldn't buy any tickets to the play. They were all sold. There were no tickets available.
All the hotel rooms in the city were full. There was not one available room.
2. Free. He untied the ropes around his legs and escaped. He freed himself.
When I retire next year, I will have a lot of free time and will be able to do things that interest me. My retirement next year will free me to do the things I want to do.
3. Fatigue. The men hiked for 30 miles. 6 of them became so tired they fell down. Six men dropped with fatigue.
We were on our feet working for 17 hours straight. Then we drove home. John fell asleep in the car from sheer fatigue.
4. Predict. Before the game, I said that the score would be 2-1. I was right. I predicted the score of the game.
I think that Mr. Burns is going to be very successful in his work. I predict success for Mr. Burns in the years to come.
5. Purpose. Why is Mr. Jones going to New York? What's his purpose in going there?
Children go to school in order to learn. That's the purpose of going to school.
6. Talent. Mary draws and paints well. She has artistic talent.
I don't think John shows any special natural ability as a writer. He has little talent for writing.
7. Village. He lives in a place where there are only about 20 buildings. It's smaller than a town. He lives in a very small village.
We went to a small place near the ocean. Almost everyone there was engaged in fishing. We we stayed in that small fishing village for 2 days.
Questions to answer. Give any appropriate answer.
1. When did the industrial era begin in Europe?
2. Are you free tomorrow, or do you have any obligations to take care of?
3. Do chess players wear helmets for protection? Who wears helmets?
4. What does Mr. Appleby go hiking for? Lesson 5.
5. Did Bill drop out of school so that he could join the Army?
6. Why did Mr. Glass turn off the TV?
7. Are you certain to go to the shore for your vacation this year?
8. If you got locked out of your house, how would you get back in?
9. If I gave you a floor lamp for your house, where would you set it?
10. Why is it very expensive for a country to make a changeover to the metric system from another system?
11. Is there a racetrack in Osaka?
12. Tokyo is the largest city in Japan. Is it also the capital?
13. What do you like to do in your free time?
14. When did your father begin to work at his present job?
15. Why do some people prefer walking to work?
16. Do both baseball players and basketball players wear gloves?
17. Would you rather have your children grow up in a rural area or an urban area?
18. Why isn't it easy to admit making a mistake?
19. My sink is stopped up. What do you recommend me doing?
20. Is memorizing a part in a play difficult and time-consuming?
21. How would you sustain yourself if you ever got lost in the woods?
22. How can a company stimulate sales?
1. Use one of these words to complete each sentence. Repeat.
Amount. Envy. Force. Listless. Provide. Suitable. Surroundings. Wet.
Now complete the sentences. 1. I fell in the river and got wet through to my skin.
2. They didn't provide enough tennis balls for the tournament.
3. The force of the wind broke the sign over the hotel.
4. No amount of money can make up for the loss of the old rocking chair.
Five. Maybe the children will be happier in their new surroundings.
6. Is this a suitable location for a campground?
7. Hot weather makes me tired and listless.
8. I'd like to see northern Russia, but I don't envy the people who live there.
Exercise 2. Use a word from the list as a synonym for the italicized word in one of the sentences of each pair. Note, only one italicized word of each pair has a synonym on the list. Repeat, please.
Neglect. Noiseless. Powerless. Recover. Unmistakable. Utilize.
Now do the exercise.
1. Their quiet approach surprised us greatly. We spent a quiet evening at home.
'Their noiseless approach surprised us greatly.
2. Mr. Glass was too weak to stand up. The coach was unable to help.
'The coach was powerless to help.
3. She used all her money to buy him that birthday present. They didn't use all the equipment that we gave them.
'They didn't utilize all the equipment that we gave them.
4. Greg was wrong and Fred was right. Their purpose is clear. They want to cut into our business.
'Their purpose is unmistakable. They want to cut into our business.
5. I had the flu last week and I'm still trying to get better. We had high winds last week, but now the weather will get better.
'I had the flu last week and I'm still trying to recover.
6. He failed to take into consideration the expenses for transportation. I failed the test because I didn't practice enough.
'He neglected to take into consideration the expenses for transportation.
'Exercise 3. Choose the correct AL adjective in parentheses to complete each sentence.
1. This area of factories and residences was a rural area only a few years ago.
2. Cedarsville is like many other towns. We can call it a typical American town.
3. Playing chess takes a lot of mental ability.
4. The government cannot provide a private plane. You will have to travel on a commercial airline.
5. That bowling tournament is held every spring. It's an annual event.
6. You sing very well. People would hire you to sing at weddings and parties. Why don't you become a professional singer?
7. Mr. Foreman can fix almost anything around the house. He's much more practical than I am.
8. The stars never seem to change. They appear to be eternal.
9. It's a biological fact that girls develop sooner than boys.
10. Mr. Corrigan had to borrow money because he was having financial problems.
11. The original title of this book was The Lost Lake, but the author later changed it.
12. There will be a regional meeting of our salesmen from the eastern U.S. on March 15th.
Reading. Leisure. Sociologists tell us that we are heading for a society of leisure. The trend is unmistakable. 100 years ago, they point out, a worker put in 12 or 13 hours a day, 6 days a week, and week followed week without an annual vacation. But over the years, the picture has changed. Today, the typical work week has 5 8-hour days, and workers enjoy about 3 weeks of paid vacation every year, with the result that today we spend less than half as much time on the job as people did before. In spite of this, today's worker may not feel that he has a great deal of leisure time. This is because a lot of the non-work time is taken up with fulfilling family and social obligations. For example, he feels that he should spend some time with his children every day. And if a man does physical exercises to make up for any lack of physical activity in his job, that too cuts into his free time. Nevertheless, the final result is that we do have more leisure, more time free from the obligation of work or any other social requirement. Leisure is time not used to earn money or to do things around the house which save money. It is time spent only in seeking satisfaction, and we give up what we are doing when it no longer satisfies us. Leisure gives us the opportunity to recover from the physical and mental fatigue of work, and it frees our creative talents from the pressure and the form placed on us by the job. Before the industrial era, and in non-industrialized regions, this is still the case. People had a lot of non-work time, too, but it was largely taken up with other obligations. Following biological and seasonal rhythms rather than clock time, a man did the work that was before him. And if he got a special day off for a religious celebration, or if he spent an afternoon in the wine shop, he still had the work to do, and it was waiting for him the next day. Today's leisure, however, is time programmed for doing what you want to. It doesn't have to be made up the next day. This is something new. It really frees a person from the workshop to enjoy, for a time, things in which he is interested. Man is about to go out to the playground.
Reading checkup. Choose the best answer to complete the statements that are based on the reading. 1. The trend in the last 100 years has been toward.
C. less work and more leisure.
2. Leisure is
D. A period programmed for your own use.
3. 100 years ago, workers
C. Had few or no vacations.
4. Leisure is free time that we use
A. To do something that gives us satisfaction.
5. Before the industrial era, workers
B. Had a lot of time off.
End of Lesson 8.